and the decorated ESPN national correspondent, Sal Paolantonio, covering the NFL, joining us on the program. Sal Pal, give me one word to describe the Eagles' performance last night.
Regressing.
Why?
Well, Jalen Hurts didn't see wide open receivers once again, and his interceptions I thought were totally avoidable. Let's just go to the last one in overtime. He flushes to his right. Now, listen, this drive in overtime was a thing of beauty by the offense and Jalen Hurts. It was an example, an illustration of the good, the bad, and the ugly of this offense this year. So they're driving down the field on the road under duress in overtime to try to win the football game when they couldn't get it out of their own way. He's got them on a 1st and 10. The Chargers have been flushing him out of the pocket all game long. He's flushed to his right. Dallas Goedert, who has been his security blanket all game, Dan, is sitting there 8 yards downfield, wide open. And instead, Jalen Hurts tries to thread the needle to the goal line area to Johan Dotson. Ball is tipped and picked. Game over. That play, to me, is indicative, from what I see, that drive and that play is indicative of what I think the Eagles could be and what they have become.
How dangerous are they trying to regroup with the final month of the regular season?
Well, they're in survival mode. I don't know about regroup. They're in survival mode. They got 4 games left. They start with the Raiders, which is an absolute stone-cold lock, must-win football game at home after losing 3 in a row. And then the Commanders twice, but the Bills sandwiched in between on the road in Buffalo. So clearly they must win 3 out of 4. But, they got to get it right with Jalen Hurts. So Nick Sirianni, as Tim McManus, my colleague on ESPN.com, reported earlier in the week, finds himself now in the offensive meeting rooms for the first time, giving his input more and more into the offense. Question, of course, being begged, what took so long, right? Why are we waiting until after 2 losses when the offense could get out of its way against Detroit and Green Bay and Chicago? So there's that. Why did you take so long to give your input, stick your nose in there? And then after he does, Jalen Hurts has his worst game as a pro. Throws 4 interceptions. Last time that's happened for an Eagles quarterback was Donovan McNabb, 1999, when Donovan McNabb was a rookie.
Yeah, he's such a conundrum because, as I've mentioned, if it's a big game and the bright lights, Jalen Hurts has played extremely well. It's just we're going to look at his regular season and its numbers and go, why? But you look at the postseason and you go, is that the same guy? Why do we have this dichotomy of regular season, postseason with him?
Well, I think there's a couple of things for this year. Let's just focus on this particular year, where they are, right?
Yeah.
Last night they were missing their best offensive lineman, Lane Johnson, their best defensive lineman, Jalen Carter. They turned the ball over 5 times and they were still in position to win it in overtime. So that's the big picture. That's also the little picture, which is they've had a lot of moving parts on the offensive line, but hey, so did the Buffalo Bills when they went into Acrisure Stadium 2 weeks ago without their 2 starting offensive tackles. They put 2 tight ends on the right side, 7 plays in a row, and ran James Cook, flushing him out one-on-one with a corner, and they piled up big yards in the running game. So you can adjust. Next man up is the concept in the NFL if you do it right. But the Eagles haven't gotten it right yet. With their offensive line hurt, Lane Dickerson leaves the game. That's also an issue. But here's the bottom line. They threw it 40 times last night. Only ran it 25 against a 2-deep safety zone defense that kills the passing game. The Chargers were number 2 against the pass. Why are you throwing it 40 times? That's on the coaches. That's on the quarterback. That's on Patullo, Sirianni, and Jalen Hurts. He has the ability to go to line of scrimmage and check with me and hand it to Saquon. Everybody's wondering, why did Saquon do so well last night? Well, because the Chargers let you run the ball if you want to. Troy Aikman had a great breakdown late in the game. Saquon goes into the A gap. If he had just gone to the outside to the D gap, which was wide open, he had clear sailing to a linebacker and a safety. So part of it is on Saquon. And this is a running team. And the other guy who's not running well, Dan, is the quarterback.
Yeah.
Whether he's choosing not to or they don't have enough design runs for him. Can this be fixed? Absolutely can be fixed in time for this week. Can it be salvaged for a Super Bowl run? Not sure. Don't know.
Talking to Sal Paolantonio, ESPN national correspondent covering the NFL. Phillip Rivers may be coming back. I'm wondering, what does that do for his Hall of Fame candidacy? Do they start the clock like he's eligible for Hall of Fame discussion, but if he comes back and starts to play again, does the clock reset?
That's a good question. I'm on the committee and I don't know the answer to that question. That wasn't the question I thought you were going to ask me. I thought you were going to ask me, how in the world can a guy come back to the league at age 44 after half a decade of being with his kids and his family? And I love Phillip Rivers, great family and devoted to his children. But now he's being enticed to come back by his friends in Indianapolis. And that's all good. And we've seen what's happened with Aaron Rodgers. We don't know what kind of shape Phillip Rivers is in. I'm sure they're checking him out. I hope he comes back. It'll be a great story. It tells the story not only of where Indianapolis is, but where the NFL is on the quarterback position, right? So we'll see what happens with Phillip Rivers. He's on the bubble. You know, we voted last year and Eli Manning didn't get in. I voted for Eli Manning. I'm a big, big supporter of Eli. You win 2 Super Bowl MVPs. Short list, got to get in. Didn't get in. Phillip Rivers is maybe, Dan, a notch below Eli Manning. Drew Brees will get in this year, most likely. Hope he does. I will vote for him. And then there's Eli and Phillip Rivers. And let's not forget about Big Ben. So that's the pipeline of quarterbacks with Hall of Fame. So Phillip Rivers is in the conversation, but not at the top of the conversation.
Ben's in, correct?
You would think so, for sure. I mean, I was talking to Merrill Hodge, who we used to be together on the NFL Matchup Show. Merrill used to play in Pittsburgh. He's got, as I used to say on the show, take the black and gold underwear off once in a while. So, but he loves Big Ben, and so do I. And the thing is, when you look at Ben, he raised the level of everybody around him for a lot of reasons. Strong arm, that mobility early in his career. I remember Bill Parcells talking about the fact that Big Ben was like a, oak tree on roller skates. You couldn't bring him down. Great mobility in the pocket, terrific accuracy, and he's got the titles and the numbers. So, short answer, yes. That was my long answer. Sorry.
What's Matthew Stafford's resume missing, if anything, in your opinion, for Hall of Fame?
Not missing anything.
Oh, okay.
Matthew Stafford's a Hall of Famer.
No doubt.
No doubt.
First ballot.
Tough. It's always tough, first ballot. We're talking Peyton Manning, Brett Favre, John Elway. I mean, are you that guy? Probably not, but he gets in.
Chris Sims brought up the analogy with Josh Allen that he is the modern-day John Elway. What do you think of that?
I like it. I like that analogy quite a bit. Close but no cigar, super strong arm, can put on the cape, take over a football game. Go back and just watch just some of the highlights, or throw in the all 22 if you like to, like I did, of just the Bills offense, because I'm doing Bills at Patriots in Foxborough. First time I'm going back to Patriot Place, by the way, since Tom Brady left.
Ooh.
And why wouldn't you? This is a huge game. But go back and look at the Bills offense, especially in the second half, in the driving snow,
Yeah.
right? And Josh Allen, 3 touchdown passes, runs for another one, the longest touchdown run of his career in the driving snow. What a performance by Josh Allen.
Good to catch up with you again. I like when you're fired up there. Thank you for joining us, Sal.
Dan, you get me fired up, Dan.
Then mission accomplished. Thank you, Sal. Sal Paolantonio, ESPN national correspondent covering the NFL. You know, I don't know if I ever told Sal. Maybe I did, but there was a moment on the 6 o'clock Sports Center when I realized that I shouldn't be doing Sports Center anymore. I threw it out to Sal Paolantonio. I think we started the show, and we went out to Sal Pal for something breaking with the NFL, and I remember doing it, and Sal's talking. I don't know if I'm even listening, and I'm going, I shouldn't be doing this. I'm not any good at this. I don't want to do this anymore. And it was just weird. And then Sal goes, hey, all right, back to you, Dan. I go, thank you, Sal. And then just went about my business there. Did I tell you that, Sal, that I threw it out to you and I decided, nothing to do with your reporting, but I in that moment, as you're talking, I was like, I'm done with doing SportsCenter. What am I doing? I'm an old man here.
I get that all the time at home, doing SportsCenter and nobody's listening. They're watching, but they're not listening.
Thank you, Sal. All right. Yeah. That was just one of those real moments, live TV, and I'm going, I am the old guy here. Everybody else is gone or they're doing specialized shows, and what am I doing?